Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email us, Team Mosso at the1916company.com. It's in the description below. Your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any of our platforms. Please reach out to us directly, Team Mosso at the1916company.com for purchase and pricing details. Today, we discuss the TAG Heuer Carrera Calibre 16. 43 millimeters in diameter in stainless steel. The watch measures 16.4 millimeters thick, and from lug tip to lug tip, 53.1 millimeters with a 22 millimeter spacing between the lugs. This is a large Carrera. One might even say a Grand Carrera, even though technically it is not a Grand Carrera. The watch is large, and you can see on my wrist of 16 centimeters circumference, it fills up all the available real estate. I'm going to zoom out a little bit so you get a better sense of proportion, because my arm and my hand probably larger than you think. This will fit on my wrist. I can wear this. I'd be perfectly happy wearing this. But if your wrist is any smaller than 16 centimeters circumference, you're going to want to find a smaller Carrera. And that's okay, because TAG Heuer has them. Taking a quick look now at the cuff shot, that's one last element I want to include. The watch has a little bit of deceptive thickness measurement. See how the case back is cup-shaped? So when it's actually on your wrist, it sits lower. This should be able to cooperate with most sleeves. It should be compatible on that front. We have an integrated bracelet, not Nautilus or overseas style integration, but mated to the case with a conforming link. It tapers a little bit down from that conforming link. We have a center with semi-polished intermediates, and then we have links between them that are satinated, and shoulder links that are also satinated on their top, but polished on their outer faces. You can see we have pins and sleeves for sizing the bracelet. This is a very secure system, but it does require you to have a block and punch if you want to size this at home, so keep that in mind. You can also see that on each side of the clasp, we have one intermediate size link, just in case you find yourself in between sizes. Taking a quick look at the clasp, single fold but thick gauge steel, quite secure. It's thinner than most deployant clasps, and it has a twin trigger design, so you really need to press them both to pop this open, so it's quite secure. The watch is 100 meters water resistant, so swimming is definitely on the table, but the Carrera has always been a motorsports influenced watch, and we'll talk about that in a moment. But since 1963, with the very first one designed by Jack Heuer, these thrusting angular integrated lugs have been the distinctive feature that define a Carrera. Taking a quick look at the profile, we have double knurling with a little collar in lacquered black on the crown. We have a little lacquered red collar on the start-stop trigger, and then we have the reset trigger. The case band, including crown and pushers, all polished. We have a TAG Heuer shield logo inset atop the crown, and then the watch features a ceramic blue insert in its bezel. Because this is a motorsports chronograph, you could see that we've got a tachymeter calibrated to 400, so we're going to be gauging the speed of something moving quite quickly. So what you do is when your car starts the kilometer, you start the chronograph. And when your car reaches the end of the kilometer, let's say this is Bonneville, we're timing things moving very fast. When it reaches the end of the kilometer, you stop the chrono. You look at the number adjacent to the hand. That's how fast the car is going, 400 kilometers per hour. This is a very fast car. Now, the watch also includes this ceramic insert for durability, as ceramic, unlike anodized aluminum, is quite a bit more scratch resistant than the bezel inserts traditionally used on Carreras. There's a flange inboard, or a rejo, that visually unifies the bezel and the dial base. You can see it's calibrated to allow you to read seconds and fractions of seconds with the chronograph. We have, in good taste, a faceted date frame around the calendar with a day and a date. Note that not only do we have faceting, but outboard it's polished. The facets themselves are satinated for a more subdued anti-reflective look. We have steel hands and steel numerals with rhodium plating, so they really shine. And you can see this is calibrated to emphasize the chronograph function, since it's easy to read the seconds up to 60. We have little sunken registers for chronograph minutes. Note the semi-instantaneous jumping. That's endemic to the Valjoux 7750 architecture. And then we have the hours at the bottom. Note a combination of media-blasted satinated metal and then that concentric pattern inboard. We have constant seconds running over at 9 o'clock. Now, the watch has a couple of different setting modes. One is hacking seconds. That stops everything. And now you can set it to a reference time. Now, we also have a double quick set for both the date and for the day. One feature I really like, I like little polished chaptering right at the center each of these chronograph registers. You can see that the hands actually feature frosted centers to make for better contrast against the dial base with both frosted and polished elements. Turning it all over, I kind of gave away the game. It's a Velju 7750, and it is a true ETA Velju 7750. It's not a Concepto, it's not a Salida. It is called Calibre 16 in Heuer speak. So unidirectional winding, 42-hour power reserve, 4 Hz beat rate, hacking seconds, double quickset with the 2 indications. We've got the CAM system for function cycling, and this is actually a very well-tuned example. It's as crisp as most column wheels. Then we've got what's known as a lateral clutch with an oscillating pinion. Right here, you can see the lateral clutch, it barely moves. There's a little eccentric screw that can be used for tuning it, as well as a wire spring that controls it. But at the end of it, you can't quite see it through this little hole underneath the rotor center, but there's an oscillating pinion, which is like a lateral clutch, but it has a lot less play. So when you press and hold this chrono, it tends to start with no perceptible jump, and that minimal play has made the oscillating pinion very appealing to a number of high horology brands in the current era that want to have a lateral clutch with more precision. Now, it's always been a feature of the 7750, but you've seen it now recently on De Bethune, FP Journe, and now Richard Mille, so it has some elite company. 25 joules, 42-hour power reserve, unidirectional winder, a very standard 7750. We'll do a lume shot so you have a sense of how this watch looks in the dark. It's just the hands, so take notice of that. If you love this watch, reach out to us, Team Mosso at the1916company.com for purchase and pricing. One more detail I want to clarify. You can see that it's gloss blue on the bezel. It is a metallic blue sunburst on the dial. I just want to make that distinction.